Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. So I've been using After Effects for 8 years now, and over the years I've learned quite a few things to improve the speed and efficiency that I work. So in this video, we're going to take a look at the top tips to improve your After Effects productivity. If that sounds interesting, let's get started. My first tip is being able to open multiple instances of After Effects at the same time. There are many reasons why you might want to do this. Perhaps you want to compare settings from one project to another project, or you want to be able to work on two at the same time. You can always import as many projects as you want into an existing project, but most of the time I find that's a little bit cumbersome to use. So this is a PC only thing that I know of. I don't know if this works for Mac, but I don't own a Mac, so I can't really test it. You want to open up Start, you want to go and find After Effects, right click, and then do Open File Location. When Windows Explorer opens up, you want to right click on the shortcut, go to Properties, and inside the target path, at the very end here, after the quotes, you're going to type in space -m, then click OK. You need to have admin rights to do this, click Continue, and now you can open up a second instance of After Effects. So now you have two completely separate instances of After Effects open at the same time. Number two will help you with your rotoscoping. So in this scene here, I have each one of these fingers with a separate mask on them. Let's go into that comp just so we can see it more clearly. And each one has a different color, but they're all overlapping each other. And if you want to work on just one at a time, it's very difficult to be able to do that. You can also lock them by clicking this little lock button. So let's say I only want to look at this second mask here. I can lock these, but then I can still see them all, and it's a little bit cumbersome to be able to manipulate. So there's one option. If you already have some locked, you can go up to Layer, Mask, and there's an option called Hide Locked Masks. If you click on this, then all the ones that are locked become hidden, and it's much easier to be able to animate and edit the vertices on this mask. All right, so another really useful tip for Roto. Every artist has probably done this at some point. They've been rotoscoping something and then they realized that whatever they were rotoscoping, the background image moved slightly and all of their roto is thrown off. Unfortunately, in After Effects, there's no way to lock the layer position by default, like in Photoshop, for example. But there is a really easy way to do it with a simple expression. So let's come down here to the plate, click P for position, hold down Alt and click the stopwatch. And the expression is quite simple. You simply open up a bracket and then you type in whatever these numbers are. And these are going to be the center points. So in this case, this is 1920 by 1080. So half the width is going to be 960, half the height is going to be 540. If these are centered, all you have to do is type in those numbers. So you do 960, comma, 540, and then close the bracket, and now it's going to be locked to this position. So no matter what you do, you can try to move this around, but whatever you do, it's not going to move. You can see the values moving here, so if you did get rid of this expression at the end, it would be thrown off. But if you never remove this, it will always be locked. I always try to remind my students of that because this is a common problem that I see of people accidentally moving something and then throwing off the alignment of everything else. One of the things that took me a long time to figure out is how to cycle through blending modes efficiently. So whereas in Photoshop, you can simply select the blending mode drop-down menu and simply use the mouse wheel to scroll or use the arrow keys to scroll. In After Effects, what you want to do, you want to select the layer, hold down the Shift key, and then you can use the minus or plus sign on your keyboard to cycle through blending modes quickly. So this is something that I use now all the time, and it's much faster than trying to go one by one and trying to find a suitable blending mode. So the next tip, and this is something I tell my students to do all the time, don't use this toggle switches modes switch here unless you're working on a laptop or a computer with a very small monitor. You have all this space, you may as well utilize it. So toggle switches and modes is on by default and allows you to see just your blending modes and track mats, and then your switches on a completely separate panel. However, this is quite irritating, especially for me. So one thing that you can do to make sure that these are both on the same line, simply right click over here, go to columns, and make sure that there's a check mark on for modes and switches. So with both of these on the same line, it saves you having to keep clicking this button to cycle through them. You can also add other ones here. You can do things like see your durations, ins and out points. I don't usually use these, but they are there for your convenience. So a tip that a lot of you probably already know, but I find a lot of students don't know, is being able to work inside one composition while viewing it from outside in a main composition. So for example, if I want to see the results of this composition, I can lock the composition up here, and then I can double click another composition. Let's take this one. It's going to open up another window on top of the existing one. We can just simply click and drag this and snap it to the side. So then we're working inside this inner composition, and then I can make some changes. I can move a mask around, and I can see the results appear in the main composition. So this is very useful. Sometimes it's very difficult to to edit a composition without knowing how it's going to look inside another composition. Alright, so next thing is replacing a layer with a new layer, but maintaining the transforms and parenting. Let's say I have this inner piece of this wound and I want to swap out the texture. So I currently have this crushed fruit image, but I want to replace that with a different image. So in this case, what I can do, I can simply make sure that whatever I want to have replaced is selected in the composition, and then I have another one selected in the project. Hold down the Alt key and then simply click and drag over the one that you want to replace and let go, and then the texture is replaced. The final tip is being able to view multiple channels at the same time. So if you select a layer and then you click the little arrow, you can view all of the different attributes and channels of this layer. So for example, if you wanted to look at your masks, you could open up masks. And let's say we wanted to look at mask 1, and you also wanted to look up the transforms for position, you would have to open up this entire list, this entire hierarchy, which is a little bit irritating. There are shortcut keys. For example, if you just want to look up masks, you can click M, which will only bring up the masks that are on there. If you only wanted to look at position, you could click P. But if you want to do both, you could have one already selected, so I click P to have position selected. But then if I want to have another one, all that I have to do is hold down the Shift key and then click M, and then it will bring up the masks. Likewise, if I wanted to only view position and then effects, I could hold down Shift and do E, and it would show all the effects as well. Or if I wanted to do position and rotation, I could do P and then Shift R, which would bring up the position and the rotation, but none of the other transforms. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys learned something. If you did, drop a like. If you have any questions, post a comment, and I'll see you next time. Peace.